I'm Arthur van Herten. I'm a Dutch veterinarian. We have practice with 24 people. 10 people are working in swine. And for SEVA this afternoon I'm going to talk about some recent experiences we had with Circovac, especially in subclinical situations where there are not very big problems, but we found out that even in the subclinical problems we had some relevant and good results on return on investment with this vaccination in the protocols I'm going to show this afternoon. In 2001 in Europe came the first problems with Circo. In the years after things got worse. We had at that time no vaccine, and our most important strategies were indeed the 20 rules of MADEC, so much with management, structure, working all in, all out, and also good feed could lessen the problems with Circo. And besides, like we saw in the previous presentation, working on other infections like Mycoplasma and PRRS could lower the impact of the PCV2. But altogether we were improving all the circumstances, but we couldn't do anything directly at the primary agent, PCV2. Then in 2005, the first experimental experiences came on the market with Circovac vaccination, piglet vaccination, which was a very great improvement. At the first farms we started vaccinating the piglets, we saw really great return on investment, profits of about 10 and sometimes in disastrous cases 20 euros per pig. So that was the easier task. When there are very good, very evident problems and clinical signs, it's easier to make a good diagnosis. A few years later we started to try with the subclinical science and to see what results we could do. And my presentation is about one of these examples from the last 2 years. The history of this farm was that we had some evidence of PCV2, serological and by PCR. And well, because it was a very high managed farm with very good results, it took some persuasion to convince the owner to investigate, invest in this vaccination, this piglet vaccination, because since he never had the need for any piglet vaccinations and he was always working very hard in his management, feed and structure that he could do without. So we had to convince him, and that's why we made a trial side by side. For the even weeks we did vaccinate, the odd weeks we didn't vaccinate. It was a farm to finish farm with 500 sows. The farm is located here on this picture. There was a good external and internal biosecurity, and we decided that we would vaccinate 5 batches. It was about 1,200 piglets here with Circovac and 4 batches without. And then we should compare them, do some more investigation, and would draw conclusions when this trial was ended. In this trial we compared the average daily weight gain. The average daily weight gain I'm going to show you is a corrected average daily weight gain just in the between the age of 10 weeks of age until slaughter. We also have figures of the mortality, of the percentage of animals in the sick bay, meat percentage, loin depth, and the meat quality at slaughter, which is in Holland important because you get paid a lot more if you have uniform and good pigs. It's not all about the kilograms, but also about how it's built. After we started with this trial, we did some investigation. Like we saw in the previous presentation, there is two important conclusions from this graph. First, we can see that there is PCV2 present. These samples were not from blood, so this is not a viremic score. These samples are from saliva, which are most of the time lower and therefore not 10 to the 6th, 10 to the 7th, but they are high enough for problems, for subclinical problems. But we will see at the end with the conclusions and the results the difference. But at first we can see there is a big difference between the vaccinated and the not vaccinated groups. The Circovac groups are 1 week older or 1 week younger, so they should have had the same epidemiology, but because of the protection they didn't get any high PCV2 levels, and we demonstrated in this trial that there was PCV2 present and was responsible for the differences in the rest of the results. What we see here is the average daily weight gain. Like I said, this is corrected. First conclusion is the pigs without vaccination were also doing very well, but there were still big differences. There was 24 grams difference between vaccinated and non-vaccinated, and that's pretty big because in the barn, in this subclinical farm, we couldn't see very much difference, and still there was a great result and a great profit because of this vaccination. Mortality we see almost 3.5% without vaccination, and also almost 1% lower mortality with Circovac vaccination. And this had to do with secondary infections from other problems. Also PIA was a problem on this farm, and we demonstrated that in the group without vaccination we had more problems and more medication for Lawsonia than in the Circovac vaccinated pigs. Carcass quality, like I said, it's not everywhere the same, but in Holland it's important that you have luxurious animals with big hams and a lot of meat. What we see here is the AA pigs, which are paid about €3.5 more per pig, so that's an additional 50-60 cents per pig what we gain on average in this Circovac vaccinated pigs. Then we had the group who was put in the sick bay. Normally on this farm we try to get the rooms empty when we have to load 2 times slaughter pigs, first the bigger ones and then the rest of the animals. And for the speed on which this closed unit can produce pigs, it's very important because he has enough piglets per sow. It's very important that he can finish all his pigs on his own and he don't have to sell it. And if the pigs who are behind and in the sick bay, they keep the pace back, and so they can't finish as much pigs as they would. So this is very important for this farmer. As conclusion, to sum up the previous graphs, we saw a significant improvement with average daily weight gain. We also found out less mortality and lower percentage of sick animals who were delivered 2 to 4 weeks later. We had a better carcass quality, what is important for the payment at the slaughterhouse. And we saw a positive and good result on this farm only for the average daily weight gain and the mortality. We saw a result, a profit of 2 to 3 euros. But if we would calculate for the feed conversion, which is especially important with high feed prices, we would come to 4 or 5 euros. And as conclusion, the farmer was very satisfied, and we also thought it was a very nice example of pigs who are doing very well, and with vaccination of this Circovac in this farm, we could raise the profit of this farm with another 4 to 5 euros. Thank you for your attention.